When Avram got to Eretz Canaan, he found a famine, and as soon as he got there, he had to leave. He took his wife, took his family, and went down to Mitzrayim. On the way down to Mitzrayim, he turns to Sarai and says the words, Hine na yadati, behold, Isha Yafas Marat, behold, you're a beautiful woman. Rashi's bothered by why is it that all of a sudden Avram notices that she's a beautiful woman. Rashi explains that up until that point, Avram did not recognize whether she was attractive or not. Because of the tznius of both of them, he didn't focus on that, apparently didn't even notice whether she was a beautiful woman or not. Because they were now going down to Mitzrayim, and the Mitzrayim were hedonists. He was afraid that if she was in fact an attractive woman, they may find her to be attractive, they may take her. He had to look because now it was applicable. But up until that point, his own wife, he didn't recognize her beauty, didn't realize that she was in fact an astonishingly beautiful woman. Now he recognized because it was applicable. This Rashi is rather difficult to understand because we know that Hashem created beauty for a very specific reason. Men and women are different. Men and women have different values, different interests, different temperaments. For a man and woman to live together in harmony and peace is a very difficult challenge. Hashem created different forces, forces of attraction, forces of bonds of love to allow a man and a woman to create a harmonious marriage. One of the techniques, one of the tools that help build that bond is the attraction. When a man finds his wife attractive, it's easier for him to bond to her. It increases that love, and therefore it adds to the shalom bayis, adds to the peace, helps make a stronger marriage. If that's true, and if that's in fact the reason why Hashem created these forces, why didn't Avram Avinu use it? If in fact Sarah Imeinu was one of the most beautiful women in the world, why didn't Avram look at Sarah to see her beauty, to increase the bond of attraction that he would have naturally felt for her? And I believe the answer to this question is profound. And that is that Avram Avinu was on such a pure level that he bonded to his wife with an absolute complete attachment. Sarah and Avram were bound one to the other with total dedication and devotion, and there was no room for improvement. If in fact Avram felt that there could have been more attachment, more love, then he would have used such a technique. But Avram Avinu, Sarah Imeinu were on such levels that their absolute bonding, their attachment was so complete that it couldn't have been added to. Therefore it wasn't relevant. Physical beauty was irrelevant, wasn't needed, wasn't even an operative force. Now that he's going down to Mitzrayim, I have to look because now the Mitzrayim are people who do look, but up until that point it was irrelevant. This Rashi is an interesting illustration of the greatness of the Avos. To understand that once upon a time there were people who lived on such a plane, such spiritually pure individuals, that they bonded one to another with an absolute attachment, dedication, and devotion is an important illustration of the ultimate potential of a human. However, it's imperative to understand that there are different systems that we use for measurement. There are mile markers and there are north stars. A mile marker is something that we use to gauge our advancements. How am I progressing? Am I bigger this year than last year? Have I improved? Have I grown? But there are certain systems that we use as north stars to sort of align ourselves to, but we never aspire to. In our world, in our reality, a man must make himself attractive to his wife, a wife must make herself attractive to her husband, because in our reality, physical beauty is very significant. We are not malachim, and we are not on the level of Avram Avinu. When we read about such people, we have to use it as a northern star, as understanding that ultimately there is such greatness, there is such perfection, but in our operating mode, it's important to understand our level and understand what is significant and important for us. In our world, physical attraction and making yourself attractive to your spouse is very significant, very important, because the reality is where we're holding, that is apart. A human being must always aspire to create a greater bond of love, a greater sense of attachment, but the physical parts of it in our reality is significant. Seeing that once upon a time there were people who were even greater who didn't need it is illustrative, but again, in our reality, we need to remain realistic and we need to use tools that Hashem gave us to further enhance our bonds of love and attachment.